to look at the actual rundown because there's a lot going on. Oh, I forgot to play the show open to see how loud it is. Let's do this real quick. Everybody back up your cans a little bit. I'm about to play something. Is that super loud, or do you not hear it at all?
I hear it.
That's loud.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I'm afraid of. Right.
Jenny, you have to remember to draw the show today, too.
Do it. Oh, yeah.
You got to draw the show, too.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Okay. We're just going to go, and I'm going to fix whatever happens in post, as it has been done many times before. Hold on, I got to write one thing, because we have... And...
Is my light good? I guess it'll have to do. It'll have to do.
Okay, that's helpful. All right, so I'm going to take one last look. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. We're just going to go. Ready? Here comes something or other in 3, 2...
Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by me. Oh, thanks, me. If you also wish to bring it, go to patreon.com/acedetect. That's patreon.com/ACEDTECT.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, June 12th. I'm Jennie Josephson in dubious technical form, and I'm very pleased to tell you that this is Tom's last day on assignment. So, once again, it's Producer's Choice Friday with Roger Chang. Darren Kitchen had to reschedule his usual appearance, but we have Len Peralta here to draw the day, and a special guest straight from the YouTube event, Lamar Wilson. Hello, Lamar. You are my hero.
Hello, Jenny. Good to be here.
Thank you.
I look forward to my 7-course dinner tonight.
You're having a 7-course dinner tonight. We also have Roger Chang. Hi, Roger. Hi, Len.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
I'm very excited that you're all here, and I'm very excited that it's Friday, and I'm very excited that we have headlines to read. So I might just do that, and if you're on the video, you're not going to hear any music, but you'll hear it in post. Okay, so YouTube announced a standalone app and website focused on video game-related content today. TechCrunch reports that the site will be called YouTube Gaming and will launch in the US and UK this summer, no direct date given. The site will have pages dedicated to more than 25,000 games and will focus on allowing gamers to live stream their games while they play, just like Twitch. Not at all ominously for this show, YouTube says it will be rolling out changes to its live streaming tool to simplify the broadcasting experience. We're going to be talking much more about this in the discussion section, but Lamar, give me just like one headline from the event.
Woo!
All right.
That's a good headline.
I like it. That's a good headline. All right.
All right, and the BBC reports that a panel of 3 U.S. judges will not postpone an implementation of net neutrality rules despite opposition from, surprise, surprise, AT&T and Verizon. The FCC's Tom Wheeler called it, quote, a victory for Internet consumers and said that, quote, starting Friday, there will be a referee on the field to keep the Internet fast, fair, and open. But Birkin Scosa, the president of the lobby group Tech Freedom, ironically enough, which is opposed to the new rules, said, quote, today simply marks the beginning of a protracted legal fight over the legality of the FCC's takeover of the Internet. Them's fighting words.
Fighting words. And you know who wins here? You know what the theme of today's show is? The lawyers win.
Of course.
That's what I'm just going to call today's show. Because this is far from done. This will probably not be done for a very long time, and it will be often in our headlines. And I should say that half of the subreddit, the DTNS subreddit, brought this one to our attention, so thank you to all of them.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, Reuters reports that BlackBerry is considering using Google's Android OS on an upcoming smartphone. You heard that. BlackBerry had previously shunned Android in the bet that its BlackBerry 10 line of phones would be able to claw back market share from iPhone and Android phones. Unfortunately, it has not been able to do that. Now, BlackBerry's new device management encryption system, BES12, which is essentially the bread and butter of BlackBerry, their encryption and their secure data networks, works across multiple platforms, including Android and iOS. Now, 2 sources said that by launching an Android-based device of its own, BlackBerry would be sending a signal to skeptics that, hey, look, our BS12 system works on everything, even Android, and to prove it, we'll put out a phone that has Android on it. But it's the bigger question, of course, and it was, I didn't write this in, is that will BlackBerry remain kind of a third or a fourth leg after Microsoft in terms of smartphone platforms, or will it just be subsumed into Android and then using their encryption service basically sell that works on, would be platform agnostic?
I don't know. BlackBerry was super important to me in my earlier life as an online person, so I think it's interesting to see them adapt.
Definitely.
All right, so TechCrunch would like you to know that the French government has a data protection watchdog committee, and they have put their foot down and ordered Google to widen its implementation of Europe's right to be forgotten ruling to include all Google domains all over the world.
What?
I will pause so you may gasp. Google has been removing requested links only from European subdomains. The CNIL Select Committee has generously given Google 15 days to comply. A Google spokesperson said, after banging his head against a wall, "We've been working hard to strike the right balance in implementing the European Court's ruling." God, I love this.
It's in many ways this is kind of inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Because originally it was like, well, whatever footprint, whatever influence you have within like the European market. It's not unlike the way eBay had to withdraw any kind of Nazi memorabilia that was being auctioned off, because in France, the Netherlands, I think Germany, Nazi memorabilia is outlawed. It's contraband and not allowed for sale.
Right. I think what the larger theme, and we're going to get into this in the next story too, is we are definitely reaching, if not at, we're probably not at, peak litigated web. I mean, the web and Google, as it's organizing the world's information, is now subject to litigation whenever somebody doesn't like what they do on this massive global scale. So again, great news for lawyers. So in more great news for Google, the Globe and Mail, a fine publication in Canada, reports that the search giant lost a legal appeal in British Columbia, Canada, and will be forced to block results for the website of a clandestine company accused of violating trademarks. So back in 2011, a company called Ecustech Solutions that sells industrial networking devices accused a company called Datalink of relabeling its products and passing them off as their own. Only Datalink was just like, psh, and stopped responding to the lawsuit. So a British Columbia judge granted an injunction ordering Google to stop mentioning Datalink in its search results as a punitive measure. Google was like, excuse me, what do we have to do with this, but in a legal filing? And so it goes on through the courts, and a 3-judge appeals panel, seem to be a lot of these floating throughout here today, said that Google targets internet users in British Columbia through ads, and therefore the panel had jurisdiction. A Google spokesperson did not say whether Google would appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada, but I bet you a box of Tim Hortons donuts they will.
And this actually ties in with the previous story. Ultimately, how much jurisdiction, how much reach can you have, even as a national, court system, where you can say, well, you have to do it for your entire presence around the world, and this question will come more and more to a head with not just Google, but any kind of entity that works across multiple national boundaries, and deals with a lot of things that tend to be very culturally unique. For example, the U.S. has a very unique freedom of speech clause. Now, Canada, they have freedom of expression, but it's limited somewhat because they put the word reasonably in terms of being able to control it. So, as you go through different jurisdictions, whether or not one, for example, a French judge says, you can never print this anywhere in the world again, it's like, well, no. In the U.S., this is legal, and I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a mess, and if there ever is going to be a one-world government, this is probably the starting place.
I was just thinking that.
Of why it all just kind of comes to fruition. Not that I'm like, a new world order kind of guy, but the Federation kind of started that way. But after nuclear war.
Federation, you say, eh?
Yes.
That sounds appealing to me.
All right. The Associated Press reports that a government workers union claimed hackers stole detailed personal data and social security numbers of every U.S. federal employee, making the recently uncovered cyber theft much more damaging than first reported. Wire further explained that the hackers, who are believed to be from China, accessed the so-called SF-86 forms, documents used for conducting background checks for worker security clearances. The forms can contain a wealth of sensitive data not only about workers seeking security clearance, but also about their friends, spouses, and other family members. And Ars Technica reports that the breach was not discovered by the U.S. government, but instead was revealed during a sales demonstration of a network forensics software packaged by a company called SciTech Services. Can you imagine? It's like being a door-to-door salesman for vacuum cleaners, and he's like, "Oh my God, you haven't cleaned your carpet in like 10 years."
Or like you discovered a black hole vacuum in space. I mean, that's how big this is to me. Can you imagine the guy who's like on the PowerPoint being like, "And then wait, what?" Like,
you guys
terrible.
have a problem. Anyone? This is a thing. I mean, and it's not just. And it's not just government. I mean, we've seen it with Target. Any large entity tends to be very bureaucratic because they have multiple layers. And unfortunately, oftentimes, the risks associated with data theft isn't the foremost thing in people's minds, right? It's not something that's tangible in the same way like, hey, someone's stealing your mail. You better, lock off your mailbox.
I'm sorry, do we not have an entire national security agency devoted to figuring out everything that ever happens everywhere? And maybe they, come on.
Why would they want that? I mean, their whole job is to snoop.
Can I jump in here?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was reading this last night, and my take on it was the same as you all. The last, I forgot which article I was reading, but the last part of it really upset me because there was a quote from a person who basically dismissed the idea that they should have had more encryption. They were basically saying, if they wanted to get in, they would get in anyway. So encryption is not not that important, but we'll add some more now. And it's like, really, you all are in charge of all of this. I mean, think about this. Every federal employee. I mean, you get that is nothing to sneeze at. This isn't Target necessarily. These are federal employees with some classifications and some things that some of them don't want to be found or not supposed to be found.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about these forms is that, take it to the human level for a second, these are real people who gave the federal government all of their information, not just about like where they used to work, but you have to really, especially for those certain classification levels,
yes,
you got to give it all. And they have been exposed by the people they work for, and not necessarily for all that much money to make it worth it. The federal government doesn't pay everybody, bonkers money, so it makes me really sad for all of these people, and it makes the union very upset.
Yeah, and it goes to a further argument of like a lot of the information that we keep secure, like Social Security numbers, we're using it for something that it wasn't intended to be used for.
Yeah.
Right, as personal identification in security in highly secure environments. Right, it was a way to make sure that you got your disability or Social Security check cut from the government went to your address, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a bummer. So Business Insider reports that starting in July, Twitter will remove the 140-character restriction for direct messages. The weird thing that you get, and you're like, I don't know where this notification is coming from, and someone sent me a direct message. Sachin Agarwal, Twitter's product manager in this area, said that no changes are planned for removing the character limit elsewhere, so keep yourself pithy in public.
This was so needed. I'm that one guy that uses direct messages, and I hate that limit, and I'd have to split a conversation into 6 parts and type real fast so the other person doesn't reply to it fast enough. It's just, it takes me back to when text messages used to do that on your dumb phones,
Mm-hmm.
where you couldn't continually keep typing. And so go ahead.
It's very interesting because for many people, I mean, the email's been around since the 80s in some form or another, and people are trying to find a new communication method that isn't email, and people direct message like Lamar does. Other people use chat, and Snapchat, whatever. And it's very interesting how people are jockeying for that position as kind of the next de facto. What's your initial point of contact, right? Right now, most people, it's not even a phone number; it's email. I'll email them, and then I'll maybe call them, or maybe I'll Facebook them, or I'll tweet them, or something else. And especially for Twitter, I mean, they need to make money in a significant way. This could definitely be it, where it's like, you know what, just tweet someone, direct message them.
This is going to make booking this show so much easier for me on a personal level. Like, instead of having to try to find somebody's email and write them my usual polite multi-paragraph thing, now I'm just like, oh, you're on Twitter? I'm going to write you. So I'm pretty happy about it.
The bigger, of course, conundrum is, like, how do you go back to previous conversations?
Mm-hmm.
So
they'll solve that one next week.
All right. And some lighter news. Variety is reporting that Lucasfilm and its subsidiaries, including ILM, have formed a new unit dubbed ILM XLab that is tasked with using virtual and augmented reality technologies for immersive storytelling. Lucasfilm's president Kathleen Kennedy said, quote, "We are currently exploring the fictional universes of Star Wars, and I think a lot of people would like to be immersed in them. The challenge, of course, is for ILM XLab to find out what storytelling looks like in that kind of environment, not in a book or in a movie. The lab plans to announce the results of their work later this year. The Center on Friday will be exploring virtual reality, augmented reality, and real-time cinema in theme park experiences." Now, the last one, the theme park experiences, I think is where it's at, because anyone who's been to Disneyland or Disney World has been on Star Tours. And the first time you ride on Star Tours, when I was a kid, I was like, whoa, this is the best thing ever. Imagine if you could fly to other planets and do other things like that. If you could really immerse people, and ILM is actually very good at that, and now that Disney bought out Star Wars, they have access to those things. But to immerse someone in that level of verisimilitude, I think is awesome. Like, to just be like, I want to be an X-wing pilot. You plop in.
Roger, I'm gonna live in the Star Wars virtual universe. Let's get real. I'm never coming back once they get this to a certain level.
And you know what? Once they start making that blue milk that Luke was drinking on Tatooine, I mean, that's it. I mean, you got the clothes, you got the environment, you got the food and beverages. All they need is a smell. Of course, you never really know what the smells are.
I know what a Wookiee smells like. Trust me.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. All right, and now the news from you, delivered fresh from the Daily Tech News Show subreddit. Lots of today's top vote getters, by the way, have already appeared in the headlines, so I just wanted to pick one from lower down of the hot list. All right, so what better way to end the weekend headlines than with a tale of Comcastian woe? T-Glass 1976 sent us the Ars Technica report that Kathleen Cox of Jacksonville, Florida, has been a loyal Comcast cable subscriber for 13 years. She also used a Comcast email address until Comcast took her email address and gave it to a woman in Michigan, which means that 13 years of her emails and contacts went poof. Ms. Cox spoke to 18 Comcast agents who promised to fix the problem. None of them did, so Kathleen Cox contacted her local news station, which reported the story, and then, poof, Kathleen Cox got her email back. So let's all take our hats off to First Coast News. They really are first for you.
Oh, that's nice. That's really cool. I really like that.
I love local news. I make fun of some of their lighter features all the time, but when stuff goes down, that's who you call.
Yeah, and ever since Anchorman, everyone's kind of loved to kind of poke fun at the local news, outside of weather and maybe sports. But they do serve a very, very important service, and I think oftentimes people tend to kind of underrate them because, oh, I can get it on the internet. I get this. It's like you get the broader picture, but sometimes you miss out on the smaller details that affect you directly, right? Like, there's plenty of stories in the Bay Area that aren't covered in a national, global news journal or paper. So good on them.
Way to go. All right, so here's where the headlines music is going to go. Toot, 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 toot. All right, here we go to our discussion story. So Lamar Wilson was downtown and bravely braved traffic to make it back and tell us all about YouTube announcing YouTube gaming. So first I want to find out what it was like, then we're going to talk about it, and then Lamar is going to unbox something on the show.
Unbag, unbox. I don't know. I don't know what's in this bag, so it will be exciting. But yeah, I was invited to a pre E3 event, and I had no idea what it was. I assumed they might be talking about the live, their Twitch competitor. So we got there, and Ryan White, who's the head of gaming, gave a speech, and this was live cast as well. And yeah, they released YouTube Gaming as a separate mobile app, and it'll be desktop as well. And I was surprised to see and delighted to see that it's for iOS and Android. And I gotta say well, before I get into how the app is, basically it's pulling all of the gaming content off of YouTube and putting it in one app.
Wow.
That's easier to. And they categorize it so very much like Twitch. You can, and I'm a big Twitch user. I can type in Splatoon or Call of Duty, and it'll pull up gameplay related, to that game. Obviously, I'm sure there's some curation done, what I might like at a certain channel, whatever. But it seemed to be very swift. They did make a point to search call. He typed Call of Duty call. And he say, "See, there's no call me maybe popping up like it would on YouTube," which I thought was funny. So it really does narrow down. I looked up my channel. My channel has a mix of content. It does have gaming content, and but it also has some vlogs and some other showcases. And it eliminated all of the stuff that didn't pertain to gaming. It was really, it was really smart.
Do you have to tag those videos then?
Yeah.
How do you decide what's considered gaming content?
What the guy told me when I was doing the demo is that obviously if you categorize it under gaming, because you can categorize your videos, that's number one. Tags and titles definitely play a role as well. So they see the word gameplay, which I do put in my tags, where I put the word games. They're looking at all of that. The one example, there's a video I did a couple of days ago that was it was a favorites video. It was May favorites. Now, that wasn't a gaming video, but it did have some gaming components in there. I talked about Splatoon being my favorite, and that was tagged in the description, and so it did pop up as a gaming video. Game. So I think they're trying to go for gaming culture things, because I've also unboxed Amiibo and unboxed other things, anything related to gaming.
So really, these are filtering tools to cull from the existing content on the YouTube networks.
Right, and hey, if this is a podcast, so I would definitely want to give you my cynical side as well, and then I'll tell you how the app was. My cynical side tells me that they should have done this a year ago, and they had no choice at this time. YouTube has ignored gamers because they never respected them. When they changed the algorithm a couple years ago to favor watch time, they thought they were helping their shows. Their $100 million, they spent $100 million. They thought they were going to help long form shows, and they forgot that people sit there and watch game after game after game, and so that's how the PewDiePies were born and Markipliers and such. And so now they have to address it. Twitch is taking eyeballs away from YouTube. That's the main problem.
And it's interesting because Twitch is trying to broaden out their content offerings as well, and so you kind of have this weird overlapping of genres that they're doing. Now, I was talking to my friend Jen Cutter, who lives up in Canada, but she's an avid Twitch follower, and I was picking her brain. For anyone who might remember their name, she used to be on Call for Help Canada as a regular contributor to the show. And it's interesting because right now you have Twitch and Hitbox, which is kind of the big streaming, but what I was asking her is so how does YouTube fit into it as well? YouTube still allows a repository for people who want to do games, who want to do gameplay, and then just kind of store it so people can watch it later. Twitch is great for streaming, kind of like as you play. Like you play and people watch. But if someone wants to kind of archive and then pick it up back later, it's like, oh, I want to see what you did a year ago. YouTube is kind of the preferred destination because the way she puts it, the video on demand portion of Twitch kind of sucks compared to YouTube. And I think what YouTube is doing is recognizing the fact that what you were saying, Lamar, that this audience is something that shouldn't be ignored. I mean, ESPN just released a e-gaming format or esports formatted a content form for their stuff, and it's a recognition. Yeah, these people are serious, and they have not only dedication, but they got wallets that they're willing to unload for things.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
I think
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, go finish your thought because I had some other things to add.
And I think we're coming to the point where this will be a serious, not just format, but another kind of content pipe for people outside of let me watch cats and dogs, making googly eyes at each other, funny videos, or even long form like kind of sitcom-y or a drama kind of. This is like a serious kind of channel. And especially because sports is so kind of tied up with licensing, you can't just show an NFL game on YouTube, right? Because you get sued into oblivion.
Yeah.
But this kind of has the same problem. Now, it's not. I wouldn't say it's as big as like a pro sports, but it is significant. Like that audience is a significant group of people.
Absolutely. This excellent points. This is huge. What I liked is that they recognized that live streaming is something that's a thing. People like that connection with their audience. Audience likes that one-on-one, hey, I get to see you right now connection. That's what's famous on Twitch. So what they kind of pressed into us to make us realize is that live and video are going to be on equal footing. So if you're live right now, Roger, I will get a notification if I'm subscribed to you. And then when you're done, and it's high quality, 60 frames a second, has a DVR function. I did like the DVR functionality. You can, let's say you've been streaming for 5 hours, and I just popped in. I can go back up to 4 hours and catch up if I just really wanted to watch you from the beginning. So that was a nice.
That's amazing.
That's really cool, and I think. This is my hope. I'm a gamer, but I'm not I'm not a kind of sit down and watch someone else's gameplay.
Right.
Just because, but I do see it as someone involved in podcasting that this is, if they really kind of tweak the tools and they really refine them, this could really be a solid tool set and an outlet for podcasters who don't necessarily have to rely on a weird. Jennie shaking, nodding in agreement. It's like a weird kludge of tools just to get a simple, like our show, out to a broader audience.
And I guess so. Here are my questions that I'm going to jump in here for a second. Number one, I will just say that even though I agree with you, Lamar, absolutely, they're probably a year too late. I do teach a class over the hill in the valley about new media, and I asked them the other day, okay, so who here knows Twitch? And these guys are 20 to 26-year-old people. Nobody knew it. Who here knows YouTube? They all know it. So there's still space. There's still space for YouTube.
Oh, no doubt.
Giant universe of things. They may not win people from Twitch, but again, it's not just a zero-sum game. There's this entire universe of maybe even more casual gamers that might not understand Twitch or not, like me. I play, but I don't. I'm not on Twitch.
Yeah.
And then
my comment was, I'm sorry I stated it like that. I meant they're too late. They should have had this out a year ago. I don't mean they're too late and they won't capture an audience. Just like Apple will capture that music audience no matter how long Spotify's been out because it's built in.
Absolutely.
The fact that YouTube can push eyeballs wherever they want. They can make anything viral they want to make. And they're gonna push people to this, and it will be super successful because now me as a creator, I don't have to go to another platform and, as Roger said, and as you as a podcast person have to set something completely different up. Matter of fact, once you set this up and have your settings, the next time you do it, everything's already set up. You only have just one streamline. And go ahead.
Here's my question. This is my question relating to us because, as we know, it's all about Daily Tech News Show here. So obviously the YouTube gaming platform is going to have this great functionality, and they're actually going to pay attention to live streaming on that platform. Do we think by any chance that functionality will also be in regular old YouTube?
I think they have to test it out here. The nice thing about this app, I was talking to a couple of developers were there. These weren't YouTube developers that made this. Just people from Naughty Dog, other game developers came in and put this together, and that's why the app was as nice as it is. And so I think it's a good testing ground for them to say, oh wow, this works great for this. Let's spin off
Yeah.
and to other genres. The one, and I'll let you go. The one funny thing about the app is all the iOS ones were great. The Android apps were the ones that kept crashing. It was just hilarious. I just like, it's just Google, come on, like they just wouldn't work. It was funny.
Yeah. All right. So one final thought from Roger, and then I would like to see what is in the bag o' swag.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
And then, so final thing I was going to say is, like, really, it depends if the success is not just a user base, but recognition from large game publishers that use it. For example, the way that Sony and Microsoft have now offered kind of almost a one-button push to Twitch. Like, if you open up the Xbox One window and you look into a game, there you slide it over, the next window will be Twitch live gameplay or recorded gameplay of that particular game. If they can get that level of integration with, platforms like video game consoles or even like Steam or something, they will have a much wider effect.
I agree. Yeah, it's not. And I asked the guy about that. There's no announcements by any TV apps or any game console apps, but it is compatible with Chromecast right off the gate, which is really nice. So at least because I like watching it on a big screen. So.
All right, bag of swag.
What's in the magic bag?
I have no idea. Okay, so blah 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 cards and free screen flow, which is from Telescreen. It's a $99 value. I guess that helps you with that. So this I have no idea what this is. Quick.
This is awesome.
Oh my God, Razer freaking headphones.
Kraken.
Yeah, the Kraken version.
Razors.
And I love Razer anything, so that's a $100 to $200 value right there, I think. So yeah,
that is nice.
Yeah, I definitely need that. And I knew they were giving this. They gave everybody a Chromecast because
nice.
Yeah, they want us to use that. And then I don't know what this is. Opening. Oh,
it's a phone.
No, I wish.
It's candy.
Looks like one of those battery backup things.
Oh, nice.
It just says YouTube Gaming on it, which is kind of cool. So
awesome.
Is it a hard drive?
Yeah. Wait.
It's a battery charger.
I think it's a battery charger. Yeah, I think it's it looks like a battery charger. So
nice.
But it's cool. And let's see what else. There's something else there. Oh, the from the Google I/O the
Google Cardboard.
Yeah. So I won't try to open it right now. but
please put it together.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. No, these are nice goodies to get started. That was nice. I had no idea what was in the box and stuff. I knew Chromecast was there.
So now, Lamar, but we're gonna head on to the thing. But you're gonna be all down at E3 next week, right?
I'll be, yes, and I'm not working it, thank God. This year I decided just to be just to be an attendee. Yeah, just to be an attendee and just kind of enjoy. The 2 years I've never enjoyed the show because I was always working.
Right.
And this time, yeah.
Allow me to extend my personal invitation that if anything is super exciting and you're there, just call us up. Just call Tom on the phone. He can put you right on the show because this is going to be a big E3 week coming up in which all the people who don't care about games are going to be super sad.
Yeah. You're like, oh God.
But thank you so much for appearing on the show and telling us all about an event that you attended. It was amazing. Are you going to stick around or are you going to drop off?
I'll stick around for a little.
All right, cool. Yeah. So then we'll do plugs at the end, but let's just all acknowledge that Lamar Wilson is amazing.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Lamar Wilson.
Lamar Wilson.
Right.
All right. Pick of the day from Roger. Here we go.
All right. Hey, Jennie and Roger. Since we're on a run of do-it-yourself learning sites in the Daily Pick section, might I suggest Learnable.com. It's from the fine folks that bring you the SitePoint library of web development books. Recently, they added the thoughtful titles from A List Apart, the people who brought us responsive web design for mobile computing, and very clever cascading style sheets. It's a good place for those sites that are ready to be born from guys who are born ready. Thanks. Mark W. from Dependable Detroit.
Nice.
And if you have picks, please send them on in to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com, and you can find our picks at the dailytechnewsshow.com/picks website.
Awesome. Okay, and we have one message of the day, and since it is Producer's Choice Friday, the producers strike back, I thought that I would read it aloud. Hi, Tom. I've been a listener since Buzz Out Loud days. Tom's not here. And I appreciate the great value you and your fellow hosts offer. I'm a bit ignorant of the difference between producer and show host and was wondering if you could expound a little bit on the topic. In past shows, Jason Howell always seemed like he was an active part of the show with great insights to offer just as much as any other host. There were some compliments. I have redacted them because we don't need to toot our own horns here, but they were really nice and they made our day. I'm not sure if the producers you choose are different from the norm, but I get just as attached to their personalities as I do with the rest of your co-hosts. Keep up the great work, James from Springville, Utah. So here's an interesting point, and I only bring it up because it has come up before from a lot of different people, which is, why do you guys always hide during the show? That hasn't, in like the history of this tech podcasting, necessarily been the case with producers. And so all it is that I came from a different kind of producing tradition at CBS News, where if you were a producer and you were on the air, that probably meant a president got shot, because otherwise the point was to have the actual on-air person, the correspondent, be on the air. And then when I came here, so my whole life story as a producer is about running around behind the scenes and then having the person they pay a lot of money to be on camera. And then when I first came here, I didn't know what, I had a whole huge beat to understand in a way that it wasn't just general assignment. And so I did hide myself because I really wanted to focus on making sure I wasn't missing anything and that I was doing my job as a producer the way I knew it before I ever appeared on camera. So it's me, not Tom. And then I don't know about you, Roger. What's been your experience with it?
So, I come from 6+ years of doing TV, and the difference really between, in television is that a television host is hired to be on camera. And it might not seem like it, but that's actually a very grueling job. I mean, it's to be personable, to be charismatic, and kind of carry yourself across a camera is a very exhausting line of work. And typically, producers were the ones putting together the stories, or finding the information, they're booking guests, and that required a lot of running around. Like when I was on Screensaver's Coffee Up, I used to be on the show once in a while. In a couple of weeks, I would actually host a show when Leo was out. But that was kind of in the minority. That wasn't my job title. My job title was to basically put together a fully fleshed out story and polished, and work with the host in order to present it in the best way possible. And with podcasting and new forms of kind of do-it-yourself media, those lines have kind of blurred. Right now you have things like in news stations, but they didn't know it used to be the case. You have things called predators, who are producers and editors. You have hosts that write their own stories. All these traditional kind of boundaries are slowly kind of being dissolved away as technology, but also the demands of the new medium require that a person be doing multiple things. Now, I'm not on the air because I don't want to be distracting. Like it is kind of distracting to have someone there, especially if I don't really have anything cogent to say. It's just like, I feel like a doorknob. It's just kind of there. But like as for example, today's show, I'm on it. I'll actually be on it.
Yeah, and then again, you have Lamarr Wilson, who is doing all the jobs.
Yes.
So Lamarr has solved this problem by doing all the jobs.
But Lamarr has two brothers that look exactly like him.
I told you not to tell people.
Oh.
Now the magic is gone.
I hope that at least answered some of your questions about producing. And again, I agree with Roger. If I ever have anything to say, you can bet I will pipe up and say it. But most of the time, Tom says it best, right?
Yes.
So that's why he's on the show. Okay, so thank you, Lamarr. You rock. You rule. I am going to postpone our dinner that we're going to have, I think, at my favorite place until after E3. So once you survive E3, that following week, we're going out to a dinner in your honor for doing this for us.
So if I survive E3, I will be rewarded with food. All right. If I can crawl to the end.
Yeah, or you could have it during, but I imagine you will be a little busy. So tell folks where they can find you, Lamarr.
Oh, yeah, you can find me on YouTube as youtube.com/Lamar Wilson with 2 R's. Lifestyle vlogger, but I cover games, tech and gadgets, food. I just did a video for Zagat where I played like I was Guy Fieri and I went to 3 restaurants. Google did the video and everything for E3. It's so professional, and I taste tested all day. And so that's a 2-3 minute video that's up on a Zagat channel if you want to try that out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have fun doing that.
Roger, what do you do? What can we plug for you?
You can plug my Twitter. It's at Jolly Roger. And I also did want to plug my friend Jen Cutter's Twitter because she helped me out researching the story. You can find her at Jen Cutter, JENNCUTTER. Yeah, and you can find me doing this show part-time.
And he does it very well. I have hugely relied on Roger this week, probably too much because I've been running around and being crazy, but he does a magnificent job. All right, Len Peralta.
Yes.
What have we got here?
Well, the main story, of course, obviously was Twitch going right at it. And I know that this is not really a true idea of what esports is all about. I'm familiar with esports, but I wanted to do something that was kind of talks a little bit more about just the physical portion of sports as opposed to the digital version of sports. But here's what it looks like with Twitch and YouTube going straight at it. Who's going to win? We don't know. We're going to see. It's going to be interesting, I think. So
yeah, that is awesome, dude.
Hey, thank you so much.
If you really like it, Lamar, you can buy it at lenperaltastore.com.
That's right. It's up there right now at lenperaltastore.com. And by the way, I just want to also mention if you want to get all these images as digital images, save on printing, if you don't have any wall space, you can actually do that. If you go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Len, you back the DTNS lover level, you will get every single one of these prints as a high-res digital image that you can use on your computer, on your phone, whatever you want to do. It's a great thing, and it's environmentally friendly.
Guys, Len Peralta does such an amazing job for this show. So how about next week we all just once a day say thanks, Len. Somewhere, some social platform. Thanks, Len.
I love that. I feel that too. I feel that. So thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, there's one more set of people we have to thank. 5,062 patrons for making this show possible, for allowing Tom to go off and do other things that help forward his prospects in the world. And we're really grateful. I am particularly grateful every day. Stay tuned for after the show for a bunch of comments that Jennie never got a chance to put on the show this week from listeners just like you. All right, here goes the theme music. All right, our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Call us 512-59-DAILY and listen to the show live at tunein.lptradio.com. Visit our daily website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Tom Merritt returns on Monday and is joined by Veronica Belmont. Super happy about that.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Blam. We did it.
Nice job. You didn't need me. Roger is so knowledgeable. Good grief.
Lamar, you were there. You had an authentic YouTubian experience. That is invaluable.
Did you get sugar cookies? I saw...
You know what? I didn't grab it because I looked down at my belly and I was like, this needs to get smaller. And so I just...
Or what's called in my world, Tuesday.
Yeah, the cookies were there and they were very tempting. And I was like, no. It was too early in the morning. It was just like, what is it? Yeah, I got there at 10-something. I didn't want a cookie that early.
Yeah. All right. So this was excited. Let's see what the titles are. We've got YouTube brings a new game in town. I like, of course, AT&T and Verizon disapprove. Probably one of my favorites is from Beatmaster, Canada sings Blame Google. And probably what is going to be the title from Dark Redeemer, but I'm interested in your input. 2 can stream at that game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And YouTube put some stream in the game. The only game in Tube.
It was funny. Twitch tweeted at the YouTube gaming Twitter. It's like, welcome, Player 2. Add me on Google Plus. And then did a kappa, which is hilarious because no one uses Google Plus. But yeah, that was funny. It's an uproar right now on Twitter. They kind of slammed them a little bit, called them Player 2. Yeah, Okay,
Woo.
you're here.
Begun the gaming wars have.
But trust me, they're shivering over at Twitch.
I mean,
has
I
a
would
built-in
imagine.
audience. They have YouTube as a built-in audience. They can't even
Yeah.
be.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think.
Well, the one thing I was going to say is that I'm not sure if they have these tied down as forever deals, but Twitch does do a lot of the MLG and some of the bigger tournaments, video game tournaments, and they broadcast. So I don't know if those are exclusive rights or if those things will. You know what? We'll move over to YouTube's gamer platform because I think Twitch does offer them a bit more control.
The subscription thing is nice. One thing we didn't mention, they are allowing you to monetize on the stream, which is nice. I believe the percentage will probably be the same. It'll be interesting because then you still have some publishers, Nintendo included, who have issues with that. It'll be interesting to see if they still, Nintendo doesn't take down anybody's video, but they will claim the monetization later. For some stuff.
I don't understand that. I really don't.
I think they're gonna backtrack from it. They're supposed to go live with it. Actually, they're supposed to go live in May, full on. And I think they're gonna backtrack. They're not getting good feedback at all from this.
That there's a deep-seated, I don't know if it's paranoia or a misunderstanding, but
it's not. It's not Nintendo of America. It's Nintendo. It's
I know. I totally know where it's coming from.
And they don't. It's a misunderstanding. They don't get it. And Nintendo of America, because I talk with them all the time, they try to explain it to them, and it's some paranoia. I think you're right. It's a paranoia, and they just don't get it. If you're last place, you need to be throwing your games at us to play, which Nintendo of America does. That's why I'm an ambassador for them, and so a lot of other people. They give us please play the games, but then you take away the livelihood because this is my living. Can
I call you Ambassador Wilson?
Please, I insist.
Everything sounds like Star Trek now. Yeah. Ambassador Wilson from planet Earth.
That's great.
All I do is
love it.
Get a bald head and a goatee, and I'll be like the captain that was on Deep Space Nine. It'd be great.
Oh, Avery Brooks.
Yeah, be the commander ambassador. I want that.
He was commander, I think.
But I want to be commander ambassador.
Ambassador.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Just add both of them.
Well, we're on our way to the Federation, so you can be commander ambassador of the Federation. It's fine by me. All right. So, what are you excited about, Lamar, coming up next week that you maybe think you know about, even if you can't really say? Is there anything in particular that you think might be?
Honestly, publishers have wisely done most of their announcements already because trying to do the announcements at E3 is a bad idea. There was an article about that yesterday. So I don't think it's going to be any surprises. I'm more so looking forward to maybe I'll play Batman a couple weeks before it comes out, because that's coming out. Just getting my hands on some games that maybe I'm hoping Ratchet & Clank has an early build that we could play with because that was kind of announced for next year. The YouTube streaming was the only thing I really wanted to play with, and I did get to play with it today.
You didn't get to.
I did. I got to play with the app. I didn't get to stream, but I got to play with the app as a user. I don't think there's this E3 is a little different. I just don't. Nintendo has got most of their great games out. The Zelda won't even be shown. I just don't think there's anything special this E3 that's going to blow anybody away. 2 years ago was the consoles. Last year, Nintendo was it was Mario Kart and Splatoon and things they were teasing, and they were the star of the show last year. And the Sony's been quiet, and so I'm just not sure what to expect.
Yeah,
right.
Let me know how the crowds are. I'm wondering if E3 is maybe not pulling as much interest as it. I mean, it still is kind of a flagpole, a tent. What do they call it? Tentpole thing for the year for video games. But with Nintendo doing their kind of whenever we want to kind of public press announcements and stuff, and
yeah. No, I agree with you. All for the first time, they're allowing 5,000 people from the public in.
So how do they decide that? Is it just like a raffle, or?
Well, what they did, the biggest publishers or the biggest contributors to the booth space get an allotment of passes. So Nintendo probably got 1,000, Xbox probably got 2,000, or and they just Activision had maybe 500, and then they within their PR companies decide which ambassadors or which influencers they want to bring in. And so that's kind of how they were. I don't know how the allotment, how they decided how many Nintendo gets or Xbox or Sony gets, but that's pretty much how they did it. Yeah.
Hey, I've been twice. So it's. I went. 2005 was the last like super blowout year where they had all the craziness, like the loudspeakers, the booth bands, the ceiling setup. And then the following. And then, like, the following 2 years or something, they totally clamped down on that, and it was invite only, and it got all weird and kind of low key, and then it went back up. It's just that event has more ups and downs than a roller coaster.
Yeah, like I said, I was at the Xbox One and PS4, before that year before they came out. So that was an exciting one, and then last year was more game focused. I never know what to expect. It's definitely a different monster than CS, and I don't like CS anymore.
Too much.
I didn't go this year.
I think I stopped liking it after the sixth time I went.
Oh,
God.
God.
Why am I still here? Like I never left. Every January, like I've been to it like 12 or 13 times, and it's just like,
oh my God. Yeah, and you work every time you go, so that's even worse.
And it's like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, I like the more. I actually want to. I don't know why I should say that. I actually want to see these kind of conferences just die because everybody's doing their own micro conferences anyway. It's just like
easier.
The point of the big trade shows initially was, I mean, at the time when they were started, only large companies could really, like GE and not Zenith, but like Westinghouse could actually, do their own kind of public forward-facing events, and they did. Like they would have traveling things that would travel by bus and go town to town, across the country, and showcase all the wonders of tomorrow that you can get from GE, or will be able to get from GE. And it was just a way, and this is the thing, it was a trade show. It was meant for vendors to talk to other vendors. It wasn't meant for...
Yeah, to make deals, right.
Yeah, it wasn't there for people off the street to come in and look at what's going to happen, what's going to be on the shelves next fall or next spring. And that's kind of what it ended up being, because so many news outlets started converging on these places, and for a lot of companies like Samsung and stuff, was a great place to kind of get the most PR bang for your buck, right? You do that one announcement of 3D TVs, all the morning shows have it, New York Times has it somewhere in their tech section, Washington Post or whatever. It was great. But now, with the dissemination of media in multiple outlets, especially online, it's maybe not as important. But I still think they're there because people who run a chain of electronic stores wants to talk to the vendors about buying X amount of their Blu-ray players or TVs or whatnot.
That's a good point. Yeah, I've never thought about it from the vendor point of view, because that is the reason these shows exist. I've always looked at it from the media or public point of view. So that's good point.
Cool.
I'm in the motor.
Thank you, Len. How's everything? You doing okay? I think you're awesome.
Thank you.
I've just said it.
Everything's going well, thank you for having me on. It was great to see everybody.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, take care, Len.
Thanks for all the hard work.
Take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
And thank you, Lamar. It's so great to have you on, and I'm going to write you an email.
Such short notice.
Yeah, really.
I'm glad I looked at my email because my phone was on silent, and I just
Well, now I know I can Twitter DM you.
Yeah, you can. Until I decide to block you if you do too many. So
nice. Lamar, can you be on the show? Lamar, can you be on the show? Lamar. All right. Well, not this week, but next week we're going to eat burgers. That's the plan.
Okay, you don't have to do that. You know that, right?
No, I've been trying to do that for like months. I would like to hang out with you as a person.
Not just an internet personality.
Not just as a grateful, as a
Okay.
grateful gratitude situation, but because you live in the neighborhood and you're pretty cool. So there you go.
Well,
So if you're
thank
down
you
for
very
that,
much.
we can get some burgers. It's compliment day here. It's compliment day.
I see. I'm flattered already.
And
Yeah.
Roger's pretty great.
Yeah.
There we go.
I've
All right.
been watching Roger for years. Before I was watching Roger before YouTube.
I know. Roger's been around.
I know.
All right.
The way
Thanks,
you make it,
everybody.
that sounds kind of dirty, actually. But, thanks.
He's
Bye.
been around
All right,
podcasts,
everybody.
guys. Bye.